discovered later on the discovery of inheritance and the DNA and the genes and the nucleus and the complex structure of the cell came into existence. With the understanding of the nucleus and the DNA molecules and the genes, that these are the responsible parts which has the master coding of everything of a human being or living creature, it was a big blow to Darwin's theory. So with this advancement, Darwin's theory crumbled like anything. But still, people who believed Darwin's theory wanted to remain intact and wanted to support this theory. They came to conference and they thought that if this is the case, that coding of the everything is there in the nucleus, and because of the change in the nucleus, then only there can be change in the species, in the animal, because if the nucleus, the genes, the DNA, these things have the coding, and if there is a change in this coding, then only there can be change in the human structure, in the human body. They thought and they came up with an idea that it is because of gross mutations, gross changes in the nucleus that are responsible for changing from one species to another species. It is just amazing. This is again their thinking, their understanding that changes in the nucleus is responsible for the change of one species to another species. But scientifically today we know that changing in the nucleus will not create a better human being or better creature. For example, if you have a complicated watch, in this watch, if you make a random change, it will not improve the watch, it will harm the watch. So random mutation cannot be taken as a criteria for having an advantageous change from one lower species to another species. So again, this theory of random mutation was proved to be false. The fact is that even evolutionists who believe in this theory of natural selection and that one species converts into another species, they go against their own theory. Like Colin Peterson, one evolutionist, he says that till now, not a single species has changed from one species to another species by way of natural selection. So if they themselves admit, how can you say that one species converts into another species? They're also trying to present it the theory of industrial melanism. What is industrial melanism? In England, when there was industrial revolution, before the industrial revolution, the barks, the trees, if they had light-colored moths and the dark-colored moths, the dark-colored moths, the insects, could be easily as a prey and been eaten by a bigger animal. So in the process of time, when industrial revolution did not come into existence, when it did not darken the tree barks, the dark-colored moths was eaten up. So this is how the dark-colored moths was scanty and in minimum quantity. But with the industrial revolution, the color of the barks, the color of the tree was darkened. And because the color of the tree was darkened, the dark moths, dark-colored moths, could be camouflaged and they could not be noticed by the bigger insects, and they could be remain there, and in the process of time, the light-colored moths were eaten up. So this is how this natural thing that took place, people who believe in Darwin's theory, they took an evidence and said, see how the light-colored moth converted into dark-colored moth. How one colored moth converts into another color. This is how they prove that Darwin's theory is true. If Darwin's theory was true, biggest fact is that if they claim that one species converts into another species, then definitely they should have intermediary fossils. You do know what is fossils? The remains of the living creatures that are embedded in the earth. If those fossils are excavated, if they claim that one species converts into another species, they should have enough evidence of those fossil record which is in between one animal and the another animal. But the fact is that they do not find the intermediary fossils record. Suppose if they say that the reptiles converted into birds, they must have intermediary animals, the fossil record, which should have half reptile and half bird. At least half reptile and half bird. But they do not find any single species which is in between having half reptile and half bird. So the fossils records today that is excavated, they prove that one species did not convert into another species. Geological evidences that today they have come up, they could dig up to a level of Cambrian strata. They dig up the earth geologically to the level of Cambrian strata, which can be dated from 500 to 550 million years. In this particular strata of the earth, they could find innumerable complex living creatures fossils, the remains of the living creatures. And they could find the fossil record of shark, which could be dated 400 million years back, the fossil record of cockroach, which could be dated 320 million years back. They could see the fossil record of ants, which could be dated 100 million years back. They could find the fossil record of grasshopper, which could be dated 40 million years back. So, Richard Dawson, again an evolutionist, he says, how is it possible that all the complex living creatures, as if they are planted at one time, and it shows no evidence that one species converts into another species. In one particular age, if you have all different complex, small and big creatures, fossils embedded in one strata, it itself is a proof that one species did not convert into another species. They were all at one time. If they were all at one time, the theory of evolution is proved false. So fossils record proves that Darwin's theory is not true. But yet, though they could not